There's a few things before we study some pieces of Torah. I like minyanim that don't end at the same time, and I want to explain it. And I understand the 9:30 to 11:30 minyan, the 8:30 to 10:30, the 8 to 10. I understand those minyanim. I want to explain another model, Daniel, another idea. I totally get it. I don't like sitting long times. It's not like things could get boring and tiresome, for sure. But I'll tell you what I like. I like a minyan that a group of people come to do something. When you come to pray, your prayer might end this. You can't, I don't know when you come to do something if you could have an end. If you could have a set, I don't know if it works. I'm doing something. Just simply, a guy goes to a ball game. Ball games typically, a baseball game has no set time when the 9 innings are over because we're coming to play 9 innings. Even a basketball game, there are timeouts. We're coming to play basketball. The game's over. It's a different attitude. I feel like if somebody, and I don't blame the person, if somebody doesn't connect to davening, so then it's like, okay, 2 hours, I could do this. And then they and I don't blame them, and it's, by the way, hard to connect to davening. So then I'm out. I need to know, okay, I'll do this. I'll do this 8:30 to 10:30. It's also possible to come and do something. I want to do something. There's something I'm doing. There's something I'm connecting. So then when I'm done connecting, and the fact that Chazal even gave an order. Now, by the way, there's Torah to study what are we doing? What is this order? But there's actually something that we're doing. And by the way, even when you're not in touch with what you're doing, let's get it done. Let's do there's something, maybe I have emunas chachamim, and maybe I should study what we're doing. What the Seder Tefillah, then I'm done when I'm done. One day it's a little earlier, one day a little later. In my own shul, for many years, was a place that we ended to the minute. It was that type of shul. I subtly changed the shul. I sometimes speak a half hour, 40 minutes. I speak 10. Really, I'm doing something, and I'm like focused. I just don't care if it ends the same time. It's not the type of shul I want. By the way, maybe a guy should get a Misha Berach that week. Maybe we should dance. Somebody has a simcha. You could do things and be present to things instead of just. Now, the clock's important, and I know time's very important. Use time to do things, and when you're doing something, so do it. I'm not being defensive. Last night, I want to even express a very long graduation. We have like a decision. The first 2 parts, the meet and greet, were gorgeous. Then the singing, beautiful. Now we have the third part. We can make an hour and a beautiful graduation, gorgeous. Like real people would be. If you go the first, it would be fun, loose, nobody's ego, just have a good time for an hour. People, that was the craziest. Instead, we choose something that if you don't get it to an outside person, and some people are not so emotionally attuned, and I'm not knocking, it's very long. We do something. I think each person's graduate. It makes sense. Each person. My wife holds this way. Rabbi Brownstein holds this way. That each person comes, so we're celebrating you. Now, it makes for very long, but I don't care the clock. Then we're going to celebrate each guy. I love the way guys cheer for each guy and are excited for each guy, and each guy gets spoken about. Now, it makes the graduation less exciting in a way. It's long, still beautiful. It's stunning, but we're doing something, and I'm going to do it till we're done doing it. I'm not going to, what time is it ending? And when we're done doing it, we're going to speak about each guy. But if you get into doing something, it's different than a clock. The Kotzker spoke about this. He said the clock is the enemy of the Eved Hashem. The Kotzker, and this is what he was saying. And it's not denying, by the way, people have schedules. Schedules are very important. And to be on time I don't want to change. To be on time is huge, to tefillah, to appointments. Something I'm working furiously. I'm working hard to be more on time. And frustrated when I'm not. But there's also doing things. If you want to understand the Amshin of a Rebbe, this is the way I understand him. Our Rebbe, Reb Geisler, has a good shaykhis to him. I watched Reb Geisler with him. From watching Reb Geisler, and I don't say they're the same person. He happens to have a good shaykhis. Happens to be my sense. I don't want to say a sheker. People laugh. He makes Havdalah Tuesday. I don't think he's trying to be funny. And I don't think he might even be frustrated that it takes till Tuesday. I have no idea, I can't say his emotions. What I want to express, he does things. Now he's not rebelling against time. He's probably trying to do on time. He's like trying to do things and get things done, and he's in the space of doing the thing. So if you're doing something, when late, like last night, it could have gone to 5. Then what we're going to go through every name. We're just going to do it. And I want the guys to celebrate each guy. It has to be, each guy is there. There are other programs. I don't say we shouldn't switch or won't switch. That's the decision. I don't say it's not long. I don't say you have to cheshbon if it's too hard for people. I do want to say it becomes easier when you're doing. So relax and do something. Try to get it done. Yeah, there's such a mila. There's such a mila. It's interesting, even in a shir, there's something called avodah she'ein la kitzba. You're not allowed to tell an eved work and I'll tell you when you're done. But that's a task that he's not working for himself and he doesn't know the job. It's ein la kitzba, it has no set. When a person knows, I want to do this thing, there's something I want to do and be present to it. So the time I want to get it done, I want to do this thing. In a ball game, any good ball game, there's no time. There's no time. What time's the game over? Sometimes ends. How would you decide when the game's over? We're doing it. We're playing when there's a victor. Let's say it goes to overtime, extra innings. It might go to the middle because we're playing a game. The more we can focus on tasks, do something. To me, prayers, shul, and one day go to a minyan. I think, and again, there's a minyan. I'm not making fun and discounting the minyanim that go a certain time. I actually understand it. It's not a rip on it. My shul was that way for years, and I understand such a thing. People can trust it. And by the way, many people, it's hard to daven, and they don't know what they're doing. So, okay, it ends 10:30. I could hear such a model and get it. I think the picture of people coming to do, and again, I'm not talking about you. Could people just be there all the day? That could be hard on people. But if we get what we're at Tzibur, there's a Baal Simcha this week, so we'll all sing it. It's not going to fit with 10. We're coming. We're coming together to daven, to sing, to enjoy each other. To me, such a min should have a clear starting point so people can know to come, to prepare, to be on time. The end won't have a set time. To me, it's a contradiction to doing things. Even Shemad Esrei, I don't know, daven the same time every day, different days. Some days I'm just trying to do some days I'm less connected. So typically you're less connected, you're going to go quicker. I just want to, and by the way, when I'm less connected, the words are very important. So even though I'm not so present by the words, I'll go a little faster. Some days I'm more present. I don't want to just sit in front of Hashem twiddling my thumbs. So if I'm less present, I'm going to say the words, Hashem, I'm here, I want to be loyal, I'm struggling to be present. It's going to be a little faster. If I'm more present, if there's a certain thing on the mind, so then it's a little longer, I'm doing something. I just wanted to share that attitude to prayer, even to shiurim. Like be into something. You're busy with something. You're doing something. It's a whole different thing. That the clock becomes different. It becomes very, very different when you're doing something. You come to do something. I'm not creating. We're human, and maybe I don't have the strength to do it that long. So then do it as long as you can do it. But do something. Really get into something. Do something. Be focused on what you came to do and do what you came to do. That's like an attitude. With prayer, I see that a lot with shul. A group of people make a shul, let's come together and pray together and do it. And when you're doing that different days, this week it ended up. It has range. And again, if it's matriach the tzibur, and the tzibur, its time is way too long, so it's not good for the tzibur. What you're doing is too hard, perhaps. But focused on missions, on what you're doing, is just a good way to focus on things in general, instead of what time we're graduate, and we have a certain plan that we want to do when it ends. So I wanted to speak that. I wanted to share, Avi asked the kasha last night that intrigued me. We're learning Masechta Brachas. I love that he came from our Masechta, and I wanted to share the kasha. I was interested, Teretz, as a thought. The kasha bothered me. I had the same kasha, so I was excited. Avi asked the kasha. The kasha's eisen is powerful. The teretz was fascinating. I would like, if I'm saying it right, I would love Avi to say it. He said I should say it. I want to tell you his kasha. We'll see if I can get him to say his teretz. But Ezra, I was fascinated by the kasha. It's a Gemara I actually learned with my tata. My father spoke about his sister and told me this Gemara, and that's something. But he told me something. I don't know if we'll get to that today. But this Gemara I learned with my father as a chabinist to me. It's a beautiful Gemara. Let's learn it. Let's really see this Gemara and talk about it for a few minutes. It's a difficult Gemara. K'shechala Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the great Tana, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai got sick. Nichnesu talmidav levakrei. So his students come to visit him. Bikur Chayil. His students nichnesu talmidav levakrei. His students come to visit him. My whole life I like tzaddikim books since I'm a little boy. I like reading about our tzaddikim. I think I had personal tremendous gains. I like knowing our tzaddikim, reading about our tzaddikim. It's important to me that my kids know about tzaddikim. I asked Rev Ezi in the yeshiva a number of years ago. I asked Rev Ezi a personal favor. I thought Rev Ezi has tremendous skills, many things. He's very, very good with details. He reads between the lines well. I asked him in yeshiva to start speaking about tzaddikim and gedolim. He's done it for a number of years. I wanted guys to be more aware of tzaddikim and gedolim. There's so much to learn, to be inspired, to be elevated, to see the raimus that's shaykh for a person. There's a tremendous gain in learning about tzaddikim, knowing our tzaddikim. So I'm always fascinated. Their last moments, the last days of tzaddikim on this earth are remarkable. I could say my father's last week he was conscious it was from the holiest spaces I personally was ever at in my life. The room was Kodesh Kadashim. My father was in and out from this world to the next. Every time he was back, he was praying. He was doing Shmaneses. We don't know how many. He was saying the words clearly. He was saying some divrei Torah, very measured words. It was very holy, very calm. Just like calm, peaceful, full of emunah. It was like otherworldly. It was remarkable. And I've always been intrigued by the Vateschak Liyom Achron and Tzaddikim. The end, their whole life is amazing. Obviously, the end just marks like what they were about. There's a Hakol Hoylech Acher Achitum. There's something beautiful and precious. One of the things I see with Tzaddikim is who gets in with the Tzaddik at the end. Who gets in? It always intrigued me my whole life. There's always, every tzaddik has a family, has talmidim who are kibbanim, has friends. There's different aspects. I'm always interested, the tzaddik, how he allots his last hours. I've been intrigued my whole life. It was my own father to see that he wanted my mother. The only one the last night, and it was weird. We were there for a week, he said nothing. The last Friday night he was conscious in this world, he said, Ima will be with me. And it was like, my mother said, it doesn't make sense to stay the whole night. She should be gesund, she's not young. She said, I want to sleep. He said, Ima will be with me. And the last thing I was able to do for my father is I said, I will arrange that Ima will be with you. And he said, you understand me, Daniel, good Shabbos. Those are the last words till Tchias HaMesim that I was able to hear from my father. You understand me, good Shabbos. And he said that in response that I said, I will make sure Ima is with you. And he said, Ima will be with me. And it's funny, my whole life I've been intrigued, the last hours of tzaddikim, and he was very clear who was with him. It was his wife. It was very interesting. Here, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is sick, and it says, Nichnesu talmidim levakrei. The talmidim are kibbanim, of course. The talmidim are children. And the talmidim get to come in. I don't know. It's interesting. Reb Meir Shapiro's last moments were with his wife and his talmidim. He had no children. His wife and talmidim were with him in his last moments of his life. He asked the talmidim to dance. They were dancing around his bed, singing and dancing. There's Reb Meir Shapiro. The kitzer is, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is sick. Nichnesu talmidim levakrei. And the talmidim came to be mevaker, to visit their Rebbe. Now here's where Avi's diak is. It's wild, Ezra. Kivan sherois, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai sees his talmidim, hischel livkais. He starts to cry. When he sees them, he starts to cry. Amrulay talmidav. I'm going to fast forward and come back. His students say, Ner Yisrael, light of the Jewish nation, Amud hayamini, the right pillar, the pillar that holds up the world. Patish hachazak, the powerful hammer. Why are you crying? Talmidim ask him, why are you crying? In life, guys, whenever somebody asks a question, Aaron, you always assess, is it a kasha or a shaila? All your life, please assess this. If you know how to talk to people, somebody asks you something, you have to assess, is it a kasha or a shaila? The same words, Yehuda. If it's a kasha, it could have one answer. If it's a shaila, another. What's the difference in a kasha and a shaila, Aaron? I want you to remember this for all your life, Aaron. A shaila is I'm missing information. What time is shkia as a shaila? I need information. A kasha is an attack. I'm upset about something. I'm attacking. I'm not missing information. I'm attacking. When they asked their Rebbe, why are you crying? Were they missing information or attacking, Aaron? Of course attacking. They were not asking, why are you crying? I don't believe. Shat. They weren't like curiosity. Rebbe does different things. You drink milk. Why do you have milk? That would be a shaila. If Rebbe had orange juice, somebody would say, Chaim, why do you drink orange juice at 4 o'clock? That's a shaila. It's interesting. You do a lot of things. He cried. Elias, do you believe it's a shaila? They were curious why he's crying. I promise. I promise. It's not shat. Please don't learn that. It's just because they're attacking. They're not. And even their introduction. That's they start out. Ner Yisrael. Why did they start out describing his greatness? Like they were just like bowing to him. I think they're saying, you know who you are, Rebbe. Ner Yisrael. They give Ner Yisrael. What do you mean? Patish hachazak. Neimata beicha. You know who you are, but who we see, you don't see. You're not like seeing the same thing we're seeing. So neimata beicha. They're asking, what are they attacking? What are they saying to him? You believe in Olam Haba. You contradicted every share you ever gave us in our life. This is like, to say it's disappointing that you're crying, we're like, what? You're crying? You serious? Ner Yisrael, Patish Yamini. Amara Yamini. Patish Achazak, you're crying? Right, Zevi, it's an attack. Neimata Beicha is very, you're, Rebbe, really? You're going to Olam Haba. Gan Eden, reward. Neimata Beicha, I don't get it, it's an attack. It's not a shaila. That's called the kasha, not a shaila. So they asked the Rebbe, fierce kasha, why are you crying? He ends up explaining why he cried. Explaining his fears. There's a lot to learn there. My father asked me a kasha that he saw tzaddikim were completely calm. Why are they more calm than Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai? It's fasting. My father was completely calm, very much. He was calm. Very calm. I told him it bothers me. I told him. He shrugged. It's your problem. But Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai, my father had, that's what he asked on his sister, Ari, because he asked his sister was calm. So Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai, it needs a pshat. I want to ask Avi's kasha, it's a pella. And this kasha, to say it bothers me, this is a kasha, not a shaila. Asked Avi Beitler, he starts crying when his Talmidim see him. The Lashon HaGemara is, they came to visit him, Kivan Sharoi, when he saw them, he started to cry. Hello, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was not crying before he saw his Talmidim. That's the Lashon HaGemara. Kivan Sharoi, when he saw them, Hischalivchais. See what's going on here, Aviad? He's like chilling, he's calm. It doesn't say his behavior. Kivan Sharoi, when he sees his students, his chalivkas, he starts crying. If he was crying, he's scared. He should have been crying when nobody was with him. What does that have to do with seeing his students? Kivan Sharoi, his chalivkas. When he saw them, he started to cry. Why does he cry when he sees them? I'm going to ask the kasha more fierce, Aaron. Much more fierce. I'm going to ask it a shtickle fierce. The fiercer way I'm going to attack you, I'm going to make it less, there's a chasna and kali, mechila. I'm going to make it less comfortable. When you learn, you have to be honest. I know a yid, very good person, want to give all the details. I'm going to change the story a bit, but I know a Yid he's very not comfortable in his own body. So how he processes things, like how things hit him, he's not in touch so much. So things become learning moments to his family, teaching moments. A guy's father could die and he says, kids, you think a parent dying is like a teaching moment to your children? There's something cringy beyond, like, what are you feeling? Like, it's not like a teaching moment. His students are here. He's dying, Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai. Be who you are. Be what you are. He's leaving this earth. It's serious. He sees them and he starts crying. It's like a teaching moment. A friend of mine, when we were youngsters, a friend of mine at a Shaila in camp, the kids are coming back from the dining room. Like he had this side, he should sit and learn. The kid should see Hasmada. He had like a Shaila, a very good person. But that's not how to impact anybody. Like a teaching moment, like create something. The way to impact is to be with our own children. It's like teaching moments. That somebody who's not being authentic and natural. Now, their Chinuch Habanim is part of who we are, our jobs as parents. It's a deep mission, but what's the flow? What's the natural? What's happening by you? There's something about a teaching moment that's very like pretend and a big turn off. You know what I mean, Benzi? So he sees his Talmidim, he starts crying. Does it bother you, Benzi? It bothers me a lot. Now the Gemara, every word's emes. I am not chas v'sholem. Every word and anything, I'm asking a kasha. Your experiences and Chazal, that's how you grow. Chazal know. Hashem knows everything. So he's saying something. It's like what's he doing? He like, let's show them a quick cry now? But that's the Lashon HaGemara. When he sees them, his Meliftes. Avi Beitler was tremendously bothered by it. I love that Ben Torah of today was bothered by it. What I just said was his kasha. To me, that's not a minor kasha. That's like uncomfortable. What's happening here? This is wild. Teaching moment. Really? Is there such a thing? It's that's unbelievably dangerous. Be what you are, and then everybody's like Nishtayim. My father, the last who it wasn't teaching moments. He wasn't like okay. It wasn't. What was, he was very present to a person who was headed to Olam Haba. What? Why was he crying? So Aviad wants to know. Kalish, tell me why he was crying. The Gemara is going to say pshat that he had a fear. Should I read it to you? But the question is, what caused his cries? He saw them.
Maybe it's because he had fear.
I'll tell you what does it have to do with seeing them? So then cry. It shouldn't be related. Oh, so Avi says maybe the fear was something about them. So let me read the words. Avi's right. Aviad's right. So let me read you the words, Aviad. I should do that. So he said, they asked, why are you crying? Amar Lem, he said to them, if they were bringing me to a king of flesh and blood, a bus of Adam, of flesh and blood, he's only here temporarily. If he gets angry and kaseilam, and if he locks me up, not forever. If I was going in front of a human king, if he'd kill me, his death is not an eternal death. And I could sweet talk him, and I could get the king, I convince him things. And I could bribe him. I would cry, because I'm afraid. If it was an earthly king whose punishments are not eternal, who I could bribe and convince, I would cry. I'm going in front of Hashem, who lives forever. If he gets angry, his anger is forever. And if he locks me up, is Surah Yisraelim. There are two paths in front of me. One is Gan Eden, one is Gehenna. I don't know where I'm going. I shouldn't cry. So he tells his Talmidim, I'm afraid. I'm summing it up. He says, there's different paths. So I'm afraid. I shouldn't cry. I shouldn't cry.
He's afraid.
So he's afraid. So Aviad says, why is he afraid? He's a tzaddik.
He's afraid because he doesn't know where he's going to go.
It's interesting, Aviad. It's interesting. He doesn't say, I don't know where I'm going to go. You have to be honest. He doesn't say that. He says there are two possibilities that Hashem sends. He doesn't say, I don't know. But he says, just the Mitzias Alein, that there are two paths. That alone I should cry. If I'm in front of a bus of a dumb, I'd cry. So here there's that aspect. V'lo I shouldn't cry. And Avi's question, Zevi, what do you do with Avi's bomb cash? It's like a pella. Why? If that's his reason for crying, it has nothing to do with seeing them. Are you festa guy? Not an uncomfortable question like in a Gemara. He sees them. What? I just uncomfortable. We trust every word of Chazal is emes. What's happening here? Eliezer, it's a kasha. Why is that related to them then? There's nothing to do. So you're crying. It should say they came in and saw him crying. It's not what happened. When he saw them, he started crying. Shimon, you like the kasha? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is departing this world. His Talmidim come in. Kivan shera is some hischalivkais. When he sees them, he starts crying. They ask him why he's crying. Rebbe, Ner Yisrael, Amar Yamini, Patish Achazak, you're Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Why are you crying? He said, if I go in front of an earthly king, I'd be scared. Hashem, in front of Hashem, I shouldn't cry. He asked Avi, why is that? So why did he start crying when he saw them? If that's his reason for crying, then he should be crying even when they're not there. I'm going to say over I can say over what Avi said. There's a truth to what Avi said. As Pshat here, I don't know. I have no monopoly. It made Avi and his Chabrusa Yankov said Pshat. Yaakov said this Pshat. Avi and Yaakov said Pshat. That if I'm saying it right, that people need to give space for your emotions. You feel more when people give space, that there's space for your emotions. There are places you can't feel, there's space for your emotion. So he said the Talmidim gave him that space. Kivin Sharoisim, they came levaker, so it gave space for that emotion. You could even taina, and this might be like al derech apshat. Remember, they're coming as Talmidim, Rebbe. So when he saw them, and they're saying to him, Ner Yisro, Amud Yamini, Patish Achazak. So it brought out, and I'm saying a little different than Avi, because I'm saying the way they viewed him as the tzaddik, the gadol, when he saw them, his Talmidim, it brought out a cry, it brought out other aspects. My everything. So that's not exactly. Avi's saying other people's caring about you and studying you and giving a space you bring out emotions. Is that? So he said the Talmidim there cared. The care, the concern brings out a person that could then cry. There's such vartim. A little kid lost in the mall doesn't cry till mama comes. Interesting. It's counterintuitive. Little kids lost in the mall. What's the picture? Running. You see a kid. What happens the second that little kid, she sees mama? She starts crying. Isn't that weird? Should have been crying before. Now you're safe. But there was no space for you, or you were scared. You can't cry. You need to be safe to feel.
Even a stranger says hi.
What?
Even a stranger says hi, no?
That what?
That even a stranger says hi, they'd start crying then.
It could be if they feel safe to that stranger. The safetiness would allow for crying. We've all seen things like this in our life. I've seen guys in yeshiva when they're doing the best get sad because it was safe to be sad. Feelings they need to have. Guys have asked me, I'm doing better than ever I was, and I'm feeling sad. There's backwards. And no, they're much better. They're in touch with things. You actually safe. There's like a presentness for your emotion, and then you'll get places from where you feel. If you're just panicky and freaky and proving and fitting in, there's no space for what you're feeling. It's safe to feel. It's safe. I literally was called on the way to yeshiva today, mamish. A guy married a number of years was describing his wife was upset at him. I was very impressed. He made room for his wife's taina. He's very impressed. There's room in the marriage, there's room in the home. It's a safe place. One day everybody's married, it's scary, your wife's upset, make room. For your spouse, if there's hurt, if there's thing, make room. Don't be try not to be defensive. It's not slugging you up. Work on your own inner security. And somebody's upset, and then there's like space for that. There's space here. Then we could respond and work and understand each other. There's space for it. So that's what Avi said at Pshat. Avi and Yaakov and Avi said Pshat. Am I saying it right? That the Talmidim needed to come to bring out. Kivin Sharoi, some is Talmidim. He's saying the closeness, the careful. There was that space, his chalivkas, then his feelings. His Talmidim came levakrei, to be with the Rebbe, so that it gave space for something. Fascinating. That's what Yaakov said, that the Talmidim coming, that Ava, not the way they looked at him. That's not the way they looked at him. That Ava, that love, that's what he's saying. Avi said this Pshat. Avi thanked the yeshiva that there's a space, that the guys give each other a space to feel, to be present. You need your space for that. It's safe to cry. So that's the Pshat Avi said. Beautiful Pshat. I hear. There was that Ava, that love, that care, says Chalivkos. Then he started to cry. I asked the Bacher, for the last couple of weeks, guys, I've asked guys to try to describe the guy who walked and the guy's walking out. What's different? So one guy told me and my friends cried together. He said, I never cried in my life with friends. We speak honestly. We've cried together a couple of times. Amazing thing. There was a safety, there was a comfortability, a vulnerability. We can cry together. Mamish described this Gemara. That's what Avi said. Yaakov said Pshat in the Gemara. Once the Talmidim came levakrei, that Ava, then it's I picture. Again, Hashem wants us to learn. I can't help it. I picture somebody's in a hospital wouldn't cry like it's. And all of a sudden, their wife comes to visit. Their friends come in and they start crying. Well, it became dangerous when they came. No, now I can feel what I need to feel. That's what Avi said. That's what Yaakov said. Pshat. What do you hold? When the Talmidim came with that, here's Chalivkos. Now it's safe. Before he was sitting in a hospital. What a Pshat, Avi. Asher, what do you hold with that Pshat? You saw anything on this, Ari? It's a pellet. He sees them and he cries. I want to say something that I think's a truth, also. I'm not contradicting. This Pshat is, the more I'm feeling the Pshat. Avi told me yesterday for the first time I heard this Pshat from his Chavrusa. So I'm feeling it more. Naftali, what do you hold of the Pshat? I don't want to jump on to a second Pshat. Kashas bring you places. If this question just brought us to this truth, so that also is intended by Chazal. Learning Torah has real gains. See, as soon as you see 5 Pshatim, Hashem is like a lot. Hashem incorporates a lot. So, even learning this sugya, there's a truth to what Yaakov's saying. All of us have experienced that when it's safe. You could picture a guy in the hospital not crying, and his wife comes and he bursts out crying. So I'm in so much pain. So why'd you cry when his wife came? You were in pain before. Because it wasn't safe. A guy I could literally see a guy's in the hospital, Chas v'Shalom, Le'aleinu, and he's just gutting it out, and then a close friend comes to visit, he bursts out crying. He sees his friend, and he says, I'm in so much pain. So why you cry when you see me? Because now it's safe to cry. You love me, you care. Till now the nurses are coming in and out, doctors, I'm not safe to cry. So what he's saying has an emes. He sees the Talmidim. There's that ava, that care, his chalivkos, and now there's the space for his cry. There's a Goyish lady, a very famous Chachama in America, from the famous Chacham in the world, who Mamish talks about this in A Little Child, that there's a space for the person's emotions. She describes at length what happens when there's no space, when there's neglect, and the child's tears are just okay, man up, or just ignored, or just, there's no space for it. She describes what happens. Kids learn not to cry. Reb Pincus reportedly said, people, and I'm not saying how to do this. We have a fresh couple. Sleep training on little kids, a very complicated sugya. Very complicated. I know people do extreme things like teaching their kids to sleep. Kids crying like 8 hours, they lock the door. I know people do things. There was a Goyish doctor who taught to do this. Lock the door, the kid's crying, and eventually in 5-6 nights, the kid will sleep through the night. Reb Pincus was fire against this. Yeah, you taught your kid very well that when he cries, he don't come. He learns, he stops crying. Now, I want to say it's very complicated. The kid, it works. I know a whole family that did this shtak. It works. A couple of kids aren't from today. Do I know that's it? I don't know. I'm not saying it's just this. But I am saying, what can I tell you? I don't think, I don't know if this one's going out. But I do want to say, and again, I want to say, so you'll see with your own kids. And there is an amount. My wife developed like a system that there's healthy things. I don't say a person's monopoly on truth, and one has to think it out. It's complicated. I certainly we didn't like let our kids cry, but is there an amount a person cries for a minute or two, 10 minutes? There's probably a shear. There's probably something that's complicated. Again, it's easy to say. By the way, people have children with colic. Might be one of the hardest nisyonis on planet Earth. Colic is a kid cries for like 4 months. She goes from 3 months and can go to like 7-8 months and nonstop. The stress on a family. Colic is like 1 in 20 babies. Could somebody look up how many, like the numbers of colic? It's much more than you think. I don't want to scare anybody. Have beautiful big families. The wife and husband have to be unified. Colic's like a schwerer one. It's pretty common. I don't want to have children, big mishpachas. Colic, the kid cries very hard on parents. What percentage of kids are colicky? Probably hard to say, Ari, because there's levels of colic, what's called, but they probably have some colicky. 20%. You got 20%. In case to do the math, 20% is 1 in 5. Leave my 1 in 20. That might be. Okay. 1 in 5. Okay, I could be made. I had 6 children, 0 for 6. None of them had colicky. So everybody's kids here should not be colicky. That's Hashem. It's a big nisayin. It's a very schwer nisayin. Kids cry. They cry even if you hold them. It's like a. I have friends who went through it. It's like but Hashem knows what we need. It should. Husband have to be unified. It's like a zach. Imagine in a house for 3 months, a kid's crying. If you care, it's like a.
There's something about the story that came out that like babies who are colicky when they're older, those are more because they were always held more as a baby. That there's like they feel something.
That's so cool, really.
So much given the space to be held.
That's so cool. I know families that went through that. It's like in a sign. The husband and wife have to be unified and give each other chizuk and breaks. So it's a shver sugya. So I want to say this on kids crying. It's a complicated sugya. Certainly not to be callous. All big tzaddikim cared a lot. There's a ma'aseh two of the Lubavitcher Rebbes. They lived upstairs and downstairs. Johnny, which ones? Upstairs, downstairs, and the father was very upset that his son was learning Basmada and didn't hear his kid crying. The true ma'aseh. And the Rebbe, the father Rebbe, said to his son, like, what's your Torah worth? He said, very sharp musar if you don't hear your kid crying. The Balatanya and Reb Dov Ber. Reb Ezi, what was the lashon, Reb Ezi?
No.
The Balatanya and Reb Dov, the first Lubavitcher Balatanya. Reb Schneier Zalman of Liadi and Reb Dov Ber, the Magid, the Mittler Rebbe, the Balatanya and Reb Dov Ber, he yelled at him. He was a mas menifla, and he didn't hear his kid crying, and he gave him starka musar. Gave him starka musar that you're ignoring your child, that you have to hear him. He gave him starka musar. So I'm not coming to judge, by the way. And there are different shittas, even in sleep training one day. There are healthy ways of doing it. Healthy. I don't think locking the door and coming in the morning, even though it's effective, I think that's crazy, personally. That's a one man's opinion. I think most people today would not subscribe. There were goyim, there was an agent, don't knock. There was a lot of Yidden, good people who did this. It wasn't done from a bad space. It has to be thought out. A kid's crying. The kid's crying. I mean, you're going to train them that they don't stop crying. There's healthier ways. Now, a person needs to go to sleep. I don't say to, I don't want guys spoiling their kids. And to teach kids, a kid goes to sleep, then there's healthy times. There's a lot of shittas what age to train a kid. A kid has to have object permanence. There's young ages when you go away, you don't exist anymore. So that's much more dangerous. When they have object permanence, even when you go away, they know you're coming back. These are stages of development, like 11 months. I think they have object permanence. So they're stages. It has to be thought out. Avada, we're humans. And we're going to all try our best to care, to live, to do the healthiest things for the child, for the wife, for the husband. So that's, but a person's cry and the space for a person's cry is a big deal. And I'm absorbing Avi's pshat when he saw them. What I want to say, Zevi, another idea, I don't know I'm right, and I've seen this with Rebbeim. In Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, there were many feelings. What I want to describe, there were many feelings in Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. One thing was fear. There were feelings of gratitude. We have much inside of us. We have multiple feelings inside of us. We're capable of multiple feelings. And Yehuda, we have different things we feel and think. All different things hit us. It's amazing. The Gemara says when somebody suffers a loss, they say Baruch Dayan Emes, they're grieving the loss, and they make a bracha thanking Hashem for the inheritance, money that they got. We're capable of diverse emotions. Very unsophisticated people. A graduation, a youngster will say that was so long. An older person feels range. It was so moving, it was so long. The older person goes through a long speech, says it was long but very informative. That's like a range. I felt different things. It was very nice to be with the Chevra. It was a little bit long. I felt different things, even prayers. It was a little long. But I'm capable, of being in touch with a lot of emotions, a lot of different things that go on inside. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is departing. There's a lot of things happening. I saw this myself, and this is Pashut. There are a lot of things a person's absorbing. Reb Miller, before he was nifter, was very busy thanking Hashem for his whole life. He was giving instructions to his family. There was a lot going on. He had a very busy day, Reb Miller, because there was a lot of things he wanted to do. He was mully gratitude to Hashem. So he was absorbing much and present to much. So I want to suggest, where's Avi Beitler? I want to suggest, Avi, perhaps, when he saw the Talmidim, there was something he wanted to access for them. That Kivin Sheroy some Hischelivkais, now it sounds like that teaching moment, but I want to express is he showed that aspect that was true in him. There were different things. There were different aspects that were in him. There was a tremendous gratitude for life, a tremendous appreciation. There were all different things inside. Even a confidence in Olam Haba existed also. One of the things that is there's a yira that exists inside, and he showed that to his Talmidim. If you know about Rebbeim and Rebbes and Gedolim, Reb Manis Friedman said about Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he was not a Lubavitch Chassid at the time. Reb Manis Friedman was a Babiv Chassid, and he came with his father to visit the Rebbe, and the Rebbe bowed Maidim. And he said, I heard Reb Manis say this. He said it changed his life. His entire life changed. The entire trajectory of his life. He said never before did he feel Hashem like that, and never again in his life. Reb Manis is an older Yid, an honest Yid. He said, never in my life did I experience Hashem like that. I think the Rebbe bowed to Maidim. He says, and he changed his, impacted his life. He felt the Rebbe thanking Hashem. He says that he thinks, and he's read this in Svarim, that the Rebbe showed him that. The Rebbe saw, he was looking at him. Again, now the Rebbe wasn't like a show for people. There's a concealment and different things that a Rebbe will show, a Rebbe will show. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai wanted his Talmidim to aspect this part. There were all different lessons and teachings. He wanted to speak about this aspect of Yira of Hashem. So Kivin Sharoy some Hischelivkais, he expressed and showed. It wasn't the Bechiyah was there, and it was one of the aspects. This is one thing. Reb Miller, before he departed, had many things he also wanted to teach. Now, it's not an external teaching moment. This was a truth inside of him. He showed them this. I agree, if the guys are bothered by that pshat, like if you're feeling it just to show them, yeah, maybe this is what he was accessing to them. The Bechiyah, his chalivkais, he showed that. He wanted them to see that aspect. Maybe, Avi, that's a truth. That doesn't bother me as a teaching moment because that's the different things that are inside of him. And what a Rebbe could do and will do sometimes is access inner places to Talmidim. The same way that story, the Rebbe showed some gratitude to Hashem that he accessed to his Talmidim. That's part of what it means to be a Rebbe. So it's not like a teaching moment. The difference, Avi, is not an external thing you're not feeling, but it's good to teach. It's really what was happening inside, just typically what's happening inside his sugya. He accessed the Bechiyah place, his chalivkas. He showed them that aspect. There were many other aspects going on. He wanted the Talmidim should see that aspect, the yira that exists. That could be a second pshat, but I like your pshat. This morning I'm liking your pshat a lot, and I appreciate you sharing the pshat. So that's the pshat on this Gemara. Johnny, let's sing something and then we'll end with the Dvar Torah. I wanted to share what Avi said. Could we sing the Shamru of Johnny? What time is the football? It's supposed to be football game. Shabbos Elasoises HaShabbos L'daydai Sam B'desayin Haya ya ya Hey B'nei Uve'minei Yisrael Oisi Kishes Yomim Hashem Hashemayim Yesavawodes Uvayoim Hashevi Shovaz Vayinovas Da 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 oh yo 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 da 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 oh yo 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 oh yo 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 da 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 I want to share 10 minutes. But I do want to get the job done, but I also went a long time already. If I could share a quick Dvar Torah. Yesterday we spoke about Shema. I want to share with you a verb, but I want you to remember this. I'm asking, maybe you'll remember this. I think I don't just think it's true, Shlomo. There's a lesson here. Yomi, there's a lesson here that to me is like for all of life, Yaakov. There's a lesson here that matters for all of life. I want to share this. with the Chevra. At the end of Parasha Shlach, this week's Parasha closes Avram with Kriyas Shema, the end of Kriyas Shema. Yesterday we started Shema Yisrael, there's the end. At the end of Kriya Shema, it describes, Hashem tells us, Aviyad, to wear tzitzis. Vayulachem tzitzis, we should have tzitzis. See them and remember all the mitzvahs. Vasisem Aisam, and you'll perform the mitzvahs of Hashem. I'm sorry?
It says you have to see them.
It does say Yiri'isem Aisam. I say some people, that's why they wear them out. Other people don't wear them out. There's tumah in Kabbalah. It says not to wear them out. There's tumah at the bottoms. So a lot of guys in yeshiva tuck it in. They're much more chassidish. Sometimes are more makbid on Kabbalah. It's a shaila. It's a shaila to wear it out. Wear it in. They're both legit. Two ways. So it says to wear tzitzis. Then the Torah Akdosha says v'loisasuru achrei levavchem v'achrei einechem. Don't go after tzitzis. Remind us mitzvahs, sivei Hashem, loyalist Hashem, tzitzis. I would just recommend in the summer tzitzis a big deal. The summer a person is out of yeshiva. Tzitzis a big deal all year. Tzitzis is wonderful on vacation. Tzitzis is wonderful in the summer. Tzitzis, remember, they're wonderful always. But it's chartem, it's kol mitzvahs Hashem, vasisem aisam. To remember who we are, what we're about. Don't veer after your heart, and after your eyes, that we could have a tendency to veer after our heart and eyes. Says Rashi. That's a good question. Avi says, why does this remember? Why does it help me remember mitzvahs? So there's gematrias. Somebody, a bacher in this yeshiva, now is married with children, Baruch Hashem. Avi Per once said that at the corner of the beged is the physical, and the beged is the cover. Beged is who you're presenting to others. At the corner of your beged means past everything you present to tzitzis, mitzvahs Hashem. You're a loyalist Hashem. Past your begadim, the corner is like nachdam. We have begadim, we have things we show. But it says, don't veer after your heart and eyes that you tend to go after. Says Rashi.
Is it don't or you won't?
It's interesting. Yehuda is translating, remember the mitzvah Hashem, not v'loisasur. It's saying, and it will cause you by remembrance, and you will not veer. You'll be cognizant of what we're about, and as such, you won't veer after your heart and eyes. Wonderful in Pshat Tova, Yehuda. Says Rashi, Rashi says, Haleva einayim, the heart and the eyes, he miraglim leguf. They are the miragl, they're the spies of the body, umisarsim layas averis, and they make available averis. What happens? Ha'ayin raya, the eye sees, va'alev chaymed, and the heart wants, va'guf ais averis, and then the body does averis. The eyes see inappropriate. The lave then wants it. Ayin raya halev chaymed, and then the guf's isaveris. So what's the order, Aviad? What's the order? The eye sees it first. Einayim. You see something bad. The heart then wants it. Hey, I want that. And then the body does averis. If you were writing the Torah, then it should say v'loisasur achrei nechem v'achrei levavchem. Chazal say what happens. Akiva. Chazal explain what happens to a person. Ha'ayin raya, the eye sees. If we see inappropriate things, halev chayme, the heart then desires it, and then the body does averis. So if you're writing the psukim right, don't go after your eyes and heart. The eyes are the first enemy. Why does Hashem write? Shnei sars. Ooh, good. That's what I want to talk about, Martha. Shnei sarsurei dechet. Yosef, you hear the kasha? Two agents of sin. Ha'ayin raya v'alev chaymed. The eye sees and the heart desires. Don't go after. So what should you write first? That's the order. Ha'ayin raya v'alev chaymed. So Hashem should write what, Zevi? Leisasur achrei einechem v'achrei levavchem. Are you a good kasha? The ayin raya and the leiv's chaymed. Avi kasha clear? What's the order Chazal say? Ha'ayin raya, the eye sees, v'aleiv chaymed, and the heart wants it. So if you're telling me not to, what should I not do? Don't veer away. Watch your eyes. And then say L'Surah Achrei Levavchem, but it says the opposite. Shem in the Torah says L'Surah Achrei Levavchem Achrei Einechem. I'll tell you what I think emestik pshat is. You have a different pshat. There's one person with Hashem saying, and there's a tremendous chizuk to me. Immense chizuk. It appears to me Hashem's talking. He's talking to me today. I'm learning Torah today. I've seen already, so now I'm done. L'Surah Achrei Levavchem. Already the ayim was raya, so the leib was chaymed. That's L'Surah Achrei Levavchem. Hashem's talking to a person who was raya already. If you weren't raya yet, you're speaking to somebody, tell them L'Surah Achrei Einechem. Hashem is saying a human being has seen, has experienced, has nisyanis. L'Surah Achrei Levavchem, don't panic. And there's a space from where you're up to L'Surah Achrei Levavchem. You've seen, you've known, people have nisyanis, people have L'Surah Achrei Levavchem. Say that. Where you're up to. And now, it's such a chizuk, there's still shayach, v'achrei nechem, it's still shayach. It's still shayach. So a person says, I've seen it, no. The einayim could do damage. A person never should say. And there's a sense, I've seen already, after Hashem acknowledged we've seen already. L'Surah Achrei Levavchem, that's how you've seen already. And saying, don't go after Levavchem. Person should be mechazik. It's talking to a person who's seen. It says L'Surah Achrei Levavchem. And yet there's still an inyan, L'Surah Achrei Einechem. The ayin rayat could do damage to the person nach them. That's what I think emestik pshat is. Is it fair? I think that's push. I think that's the pshuta shal mikra. It's L'Surah Achrei Levavchem. Hashem's talking where we are. And then being mechazik, there's still an inyan of kedusha of L'Surah Achrei Einechem. Shem of the persons I've seen already, so that ship has sailed. No, L'Surah Achrei Einechem, to be mechazik weiter. The einayim see is an impact on a person, L'Surah Achrei Einechem. Speaking afterwards. I think it's emes Naftali, is that pshat? Ari, is that how you learn Pasha? I think that's emes pshat.
Could it be that also that the Achrei Levavchem is if you stop there, then you're not being saucer after the Einechem, the original seeing. So we saw already saying don't go after the heart, and if you don't go after the heart, you're also the male not going after the original.
You're working on like Yehuda's pshat, what will happen. So you're in that flow. Aryeh is coming. Yehuda said this is what happens. You remember. So now you won't be served to your einayim, you won't be served to your lave. So Yehuda's going weiter, and you won't go after your heart, and you won't go after your einayim now. Now you're like, you haven't given in, so makes a lot of sense. Makes sense in that. What the reason I get so excited from this pshat, just it's emes, I think it's emes, I think it's the pshat in the Torah, but also a person where they are, that there's a path to Hashem where I am. Nobody's shlugged up. The Rebbeinu Shalom knows us now and today and here and presently, and is speaking to us that we're shayach to Madregas and the steps of now. L'Surah Achrei Levavchem. People, a friend of mine went to a big gadol describing machshava is this, that. He's like, serve Hashem right here, right with the machshava is what Beseder. So Beseder. So this is what you Beseder. There's a place of service right here, and then from there's big madregas of kedusha to climb. People want to in 1 minute, and there's big madregas after L'Surah Achrei Levavchem, and nach them there's Achrei Einechem. There's a chizuk weiter. The sense of I'm slugged up where I'm at is a tremendous Yetzer Hara. The beautiful way Hashem's talking about in Yanei Kedusha. This pasuk is a chizuk neira. To me, it's a chizuk neira. It's really all of life, like this in here where it's describing, remembering mitzvahs who we are, and then a world of not veering off. That from where you are, so there's a place from a place that knows I've seen already, but I remember who you are, see the tzitzis, and then from where you are, this is where you are. Hashem's talking to somebody who clearly that ship has sailed. Saying to somebody, there's a space from there, there's a space right now from here. The ayim is right here, so from here, and then and then you can even build up more. There's from where you are, and then a person from there, like Arya says, it could be, and that's what would happen, rather naturally from that space. But where we are, the the Yetzer Hara so badly wants to tell a person it's over. That's like the goal. I've heard Rav Dan Segel says the goal of the Yetzer Hara. We say at Mai, we say V'hasa satim ulfanenu me'acharenu. After the Maisa, the Yetzer Hara goes to work, you're done, finished. There were enemies of David HaMelech said, Ein Yeshuas v'Elokim Selah, he's done. That's not a one-time voice. That's a voice that exists in every human being. And the Torah is speaking about remembering who we are at that moment. L'sasur achrei levavchem is speaking in the middle of a story. It's literally in the middle of a story. And the Torah is saying, you remember who you are. So from where you are, so good. So let's go. There's what to do now. And a person can build achrei nechem also. There's what to get to. To me, I wanted to end this man. Maybe the last year of this man in the Shabbos Kodesh will have, maybe I don't want to say the last year, who knows the last year. It's like goodbyes, you get and chap another one, so I don't want to say that. But one of the last times we learned Torah together, this man, and I want to share this truth that Hashem saying to me, it's Pashut. See your tzitzis, remember you are, and from there, at that moment, at that time, where you are, it's amazing. It doesn't say L'surach Nechem first. Because what are you telling the guy? But he's seen at that space, he remembers who you are. So there's an avodah. Then Avada, he could add him, Nechem. Then from then, Zevi, is that how you learn Pshat? I think it's I tried. Somebody could try. I don't want to it's not like the goal to say a nice idea. You're learning Torah. You're not having luxury but it's a pellet. It says L'surach levavchem achrei nechem shnei shtar suri d'chadeinayim roya v'alev chaymin. It should say L'surach achrei nechem achrei levavchem. The pshat L'surach achrei levavchem means the einayim have seen already. That's what Torah is saying. It removed the Satan Me'acharenu is after the Maisa, the Yetzer Hara says you're out. There's always that voice in a person, that laugh. You really? You're going anywhere from here? It's a vada. I see my tzitzis. I'm going everywhere from here. I'm going everywhere from here, from now. It's interesting. There's the last day of this man. I would love, go deep in the dorm and learn a minute. Some guy he could have a great smandal from here. See your tzitzis and remember. There's guys. A guy last night told me things. He told me madregas he reached the last week, things he was very osik in. He told me the last week. So what is man? What a year! What years he's had? He's had a good 18 years because he remembered and he saw that's where you are, where we are is everything in the world. There's everything. You have a person who's a tzaddik yesod olam, and today's active person, he has to be mechazik. A person that struggled us. It's now. It's this moment. It's this time to be mechazik. He sees his sits and he remembers. And I love that Hashem says at the moment of memory. You know what will happen? L'surach levavchem. Clearly speaking to somebody who said, if you didn't see it, what do you say? L'surach levavchem. The person saw l'surach levavchem now. Then he'll come. Vaytev l'surach nechem. Then he could build up. That's what I wanted to share. I don't think it's just a word on the einayim. It's a word on all aspect of kedusha, of limudat Torah, of steiging. What should a guy do? He should daven mincha now. He should say kapitel tolim now. He should be mechabed of it. He should call his tata now. And what should he do? He sees his sitzes and he remembers. So the Torah speaks exactly where he is. L'surach levavchem. And then from there, this shayach to everything. V'achrei nechem, a big madrega. Say Dagot and Shabbos. What time? 8:27 Shkia.
Lunch is a half hour ago. School's open now.